Namaskar. Namaskar, 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 dear friends. This Sunday morning, which is 10th, the 10th of January 2021, I am excited. I am excited, dear friend, to bring to you a very, 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 very interesting conversation. Now, why are conversations interesting? Conversations are interesting because you and I can derive something exciting out of it for us. So today, this conversation is about the ticking mind of an entrepreneur. Let's face it, dear friends, this period is pretty interestingly challenging for each one of us. Yes or yes? Yes or yes? It is interestingly challenging for each one of us. So I'm very clear that if we are to step out of this situation, whichever situation that you and I are in our life, the way out is going to be created by me. By me. Yes, dear friend, namaskar. My name is Ashish Vidyarthi, and I'm excited to be here with you. We're going to create a very, very interesting conversation on the ticking mind of the entrepreneur. All right. So this conversation is with a very, very interesting person. His name is Ajay Kumar Mall. And be ready to be excited because this gentleman is going to share with us certain things that he has done and achieved in his life. But most importantly for each one of us, what is it that we can take away to create something extraordinary for our lives from this conversation? So are we all ready? I mean, let's have a look at some of the interesting people who are already joining in. And Anusha Bala, namaskar. C.A. Suresh, namaskar. Ansa, Abhijit Kumar, across platforms. So we are going live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Twitch. So fantastic. Super duper, my friends. Archana Bhivaji Rama, all the way from Mauritius. So good to see you. Amitabh Tripathi, Debabrata Sen. Great, great, great. Welcome, everybody. This is going to be an exciting conversation about discovering what is it that we can look and create in ourselves to become an entrepreneur ourselves. Remember, entrepreneurship is part of a journey that each one of us not just creates value for ourselves, but for others. Each one of us wants to do something spectacular with our life. If not, please connect to the spectacular wish in each one of you. So I am excited this Sunday morning, 10th of January. All right, I'm at a very cool place, huh? I'll tell you more about where I am later. But it gives me immense pleasure to invite to this conference. Once again, I'll once again show what we are here for, so that for you are all keyed up. You are keyed up for this living forward, in which I'm going to have a tete-a-tete with Mr. Ajay Kumar Mall, the founder of Mallcom. And we are going to explore some very interesting things that he's done with his life, with his business, where he's now. And more importantly, we are going to get to know the ticking mind of an entrepreneur. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and let's rock. Ajay ji, swagat hai aapka. Swagat, swagat, swagat. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very, very much for inviting me to your show.
I'm very, very happy very happy. Thank you, Smita. Very happy, Ajayji, that you have made time on a Sunday morning to be here with us. And I want to begin this conversation with, for the first time in this entire time, all of us know something about the PPE. All that suit that we wear whenever we're moving out, aircraft, hum log pehen rahe hain. We wear those gloves. Shootings mein, everybody's wearing those suits and all that. For you, it will be a sense of deja vu, right? Now everybody knows about PPE, but that's been your work.
Yes. So this has been our work for 38 years, and but let me also tell you that this was a little bit different than what we were doing. So we were doing the industrial protection. So it was personal protective equipment for industries. Now what we are talking about PPE at the moment in this pandemic is about the medical PPEs, which are disposable. Basically, they are biological PPE, and that is where, of course, we were not prevalent in that subject. But it so happened that because of this situation and government's persuasion and the local bodies' persuasion, we tweaked a little bit in our process and product range, and we also started creating these kind of PPEs, which we helped our people and our country in meeting the demands. Of course, we are in this subject as well. So for us, it's
Sure.
like a new. I mean, in the beginning, it was very difficult for us to really explain to people what kind of industry we are in. And when we say PPE, a few years ago, nobody could have imagined or understood. And now they are all talking about PPE. And now we say, yes, this is what we were doing. So for us, yes, is deja vu. Yeah, very truly said.
And very beautiful, yes, because I have noticed that that's been your core business, and then in during this pandemic you have had to tweak certain things in your things so as to provide for emergency this
Yes.
thing available to all. So as I begin with this, all right, begin this conversation, and therefore why I'm saying that when some years back when I did my first of the events with Mallcom, it took me some time to understand what is PPE. The PPE, what is PPE? But tell us that Mallcom, which is making this for industrial use for now years, tell me, how did it all begin? How did it all begin? Right? I know that you are a first generation entrepreneur, and I have deep respect for entrepreneurship because I have never been an entrepreneur. And I have realized some years back when I turned an entrepreneur that
Yes.
entrepreneurship is an extraordinary opportunity to create something afresh, not just for yourself, but for the world. Yes, Ajay? And
Yes.
so
Very true.
therefore I
Very
want to
true.
ask, and for anyone who's listening in, tell us something, what started you off as a first generation entrepreneur?
So, Ashish, I take you to a little bit of the background of mine. So,
Hmm.
I'm the first generation entrepreneur, but my great grandfathers were in entrepreneurs. I mean, they migrated from Rajasthan to uh, Bengal way
Hmm.
back 150 years. And they were entrepreneurs. They were in a small village, township called Purulia, where they still, one of my uncles still stays there. And they were into business. But my father, I think in 1955 or so, he migrated to Calcutta because
Hmm.
he was looking for a professional career, and he turned a professional all his life. And of course, he was into job. And then because I lost my grandfather when I was not even born. My father was very young, and he has to raise all his brothers and everybody. And everybody was an a professional. I mean, one is doctor, another engineer, and stuff like that. And so far as I'm concerned, when I was finishing my chartered accountancy along with my graduation, I always thought of doing something of my own. I was never interested in doing something under somebody because that was not suiting me. Let's say, mentally, I was not prepared to take somebody as my boss. It was maybe a little bit of rude of me, but that is how it was. So 5 years of my articleship in the chartered accountancy firm, where I really learned a lot, but I never liked the work environment, or let's say culture therein. And I always thought that one day perhaps I will also own an office, or I will have something of my own where I will not treat my people like this. I must treat them a little bit more sympathetically, more nicely, and to do it in a better way. And that's what I have been trying to do all these years, right? So that
So
was the
this is this is very interesting, and I want to bring out this part. So the first part is that you wanted out of where you were.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, that you were somewhere. So all of us are somewhere.
yeah.
Okay, and most of us want out of where we are. All right. So what you have just illustrated is that two things came out for me. A, if you want to opt out of where you are, then I have to cause that opt out. Okay.
Yeah,
And the
yeah, very true.
second powerful thing which I heard from you is that if there are certain reasons, which you don't like around you, and you say, look, I don't like these reasons and I want to step out, you will make sure that those reasons are not there when you opt out and you create
Yes,
something of
yes,
right.
very correct.
Very, very
Very true.
powerful.
Very
Very
true.
powerful.
Yeah.
So this comes very close to me, Ajay ji, because I've always felt that when I look straight at people, when I look at others, and when I look at myself, one of the things that strikes me is that a whole lot of things are around us which we do not like. So we have two choices. Either we sit there and complain, or maybe go out and create and then say that, look, that is what the world did to me. I will
Yeah.
now give it back to them that same way. So tell me, how is this entrepreneur? How did you, Ajay Kumar Mall, say that I'm going to create something afresh for myself, but I will not treat the people the way I was treated?
Yeah. So, I mean, during this, education, I was still very young, 17, 18, and I used to do a lot of errand job, right? Where I used to make little money for my, let's say, studies or my own, let's say, pocket money or whatever. Because my father, those days, were living in Malaysia. He was on an assignment there for many years. He lived there, and me and my brothers, we were there in Calcutta, and they were still in schools and colleges, and I was the eldest one, and I took this responsibility, and my father gave this responsibility that yes, you must look after them, and you must be taking care of them. So they were students, and I was still trying to let's say study as well as make a little bit money so that we can uh, make both the ends met. And I was very proud and happy that we could do it very nicely. In fact, a lot of errand job I used to do. I never used to feel that this job will be smaller for me. I would do extra hours or whatever, and I must make a little money so that I feel very happy and proud that yes, this is my earned money. And that's how the whole journey started. And after I completed my chartered accountancy, I wanted to really get into because there were a lot of options really. I mean, I was offered a lot of jobs, India and abroad. And those days were very interesting to just step out in a lot of these multinational companies. They were ready to pick up people, good brains from India. And okay, I could have got it. And maybe a different life altogether I would have lived. But then I think I was really made up. I had made up my mind that I must do something of my own. And for me, those days, Calcutta was not the right choice. But since I'm born and brought up here, for me it was, let's say, uh, known kind of territory. And I said, listen, let's stay back here and do something. And
So
okay, I don't.
I have a question. Yeah, I have a question, and people talk to me about it. They
Yeah,
say that I am a mix of Bengal and
I know.
Kerala. All right. And my mother is a Bengali, but from Rajasthan. Father is from
Yeah,
Kerala.
yeah.
But coming to know about you, while you were in Kolkata, were you in Kolkata when you cracked a deal, a timber deal from
Yeah,
Kerala?
yes,
Yeah.
I did.
So that
I did.
again, and please tell us about that.
Yeah.
Please
So
tell us about that.
it was my first million made, right? And this was my deal way back in 83, 84. And when I was just out of my chartered accountancy and was trying to put my hands in all ciphers what I can do. So
Hmm.
export and import and indenting was something which I was always trying to perceive that this is what I should be doing. So my father got me connected to one of the large timber supplier from Malaysia.
Hmm.
And those days, government of India has just opened up the timber business. Let's say they stopped the wood cutting in India. They allowed the timbers could be imported, and that's where I participated. Or rather, I got this. I became an agent of this Malaysian vendor, and I represented him in a Kerala tender, Kerala government tender way back in '84. And this tender was for 10,000 metric ton of uh,
Timber.
timber logs coming out of Malaysia. And that was a big amount. It was something like some 5 crores or something like that. And I had a commission of 2%. And that was big money for me. And
So quick
I had
question
to,
here.
sorry,
So quick question here. Quick
yes,
question.
yes, please.
Was this something which you had done before?
Never, never. I never
Okay.
did it before. I
Hmm.
knew the terminologies. I knew all about the indenting business, and a lot of insights were given to me by my father because he was doing these day in and out. But he did explain how does it happen, the principle and the procedures. But in India, the things were okay. It was a different ball game. Let's say those days, the the whole policy of import was not so clear and open. The government buying are a little bit typical and very tedious. So you have to be persuasive. You have to be there. You have to, bring all the papers. Even those vendors were also very supportive. They also used to come over. We made a lot of meetings with the government officials, and finally the tender was awarded to them. And this deal was clicked. So I made a good commission money, which was a big amount for me to begin with.
So here is something very interesting which I want to kind of do. So, even in your languaging, Ajayji, I keep noticing that you use the term that they were interesting times, and I get it. And you also keep saying that how that thing was also great, that the people who were there, your people from Malaysia, they were also wonderful, and you needed to do something wonderful. Is that how important is it for the entrepreneur, for the person who's moving forward, to really see the best in what is there, rather than hoping for the best to happen for them to create something amazing? How important is it for me, for the person who is watching the show, to see the gold in the present rather than wait for it?
Yeah, okay. Ashish, yeah, what I would say, you see, you have to start with positivities. You can't have all kind of but and if to begin any kind of business or any kind of let's say venture. You need to understand that, of course, there will be a lot of odds. There is no doubt about it. I mean, it is all dependent on you and sometimes your luck, I would say, but most of the time it is you. That how do you handle it? How do you come over in a very, let's say, strong way or nicer way, very softly? It all depends on your traits about your own leadership, right? And
Yeah.
I would always recommend that, you have to be persuasive, and you need not lose your cool just because the things are not going as per your plans. You have to understand that what are the situation which is incurring here to create this kind of odd for you, and how best you can solve it. It will take
Super.
a little while,
Yeah.
but you are able to do it. I'm sure everybody is able to do it. You have to be persuasive about it. That's it.
Yeah. And you also use this term again and again about being persuasive, or really
Yes.
being persuasive about certain things, which means that it's not exactly falling into place the way you want it, all right,
Yeah.
but still you are being persuasive, and being ready to move. And
Yes.
that's what I've seen, because you cracked that big deal in timber, okay, and then you move to jackets.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is how important has movement been, the
Yeah.
fluidity of things, that I will keep pursuing a particular dream, but it is not connected to just one thing?
No,
There can be
absolutely.
many aspects to it. Would you like to share something about that
Sure.
movement part of yours?
Yeah. So after I did a couple of these tenders, which bought me a little money, and then I was trying to concentrate on how sustainable business I can build up. And that is where I got into leather. That leather, I would say, leather was something which is abundantly made in Calcutta, in surrounding areas, and this is something where not everybody would like to venture out because it's a little bit,
Okay,
let's
just
say,
one moment.
yes,
Ajayji,
please.
just one moment. You made a
Yes,
very
please.
beautiful point. I just want us to move. So you made your money in that timber deal, all right?
Yes, yes, please.
And now your mind is not looking at the product. Your mind is looking at what is it that I can create on a sustainable basis.
Very true. Very true.
All right. So now
Yeah,
you're open. So you're not
yeah,
like, okay, I made my deal in timber. So my next thing also has to be timber, or next to
yeah.
be also has to be that deal. So
No,
I just, and this is beautiful. Please go on.
yeah.
So what
So,
can it, what
so
next can I create which is sustainable, and you
yeah,
move to leather?
sustainable, because I realize that timber business will remain as a tender business, and there are a lot of operators, and there are many people who would try to do a lot of, let's say,
Hook and crook.
under over deal, which I'm not prepared. I would like to be very honest and very sincere about what I'm doing, and that is the reason that I decided to wrap up from there very graciously and started this business of leather gloves, which was a safety gloves, which is abundantly made in Calcutta area. And this was one business which I said, listen, perhaps we can do it very nicely, because I know that for that I need to travel a lot, visit all the customers, show them the product, or bring them here to show the infrastructure, the facility, and then finally crack a deal that which I started doing, and it happened. So it took little while, but I think within next 2 3 years time I could make a sustainable business on leather gloves, which still continues with us. And this is part of our one of the, I mean, the PPE portfolio, which is in hand safety. This is part of
Yeah.
the hand safety which we
So,
make. Yeah.
so I again want to illustrate some of the points that you kind of whenever I interact with you, JG, one of the things that I get is that there are some very interesting attributes of the entrepreneur which keeps. I'm just trying to underline it. The other part that you just now shared is that what I could understand is that so now you are the entrepreneur who's looking for something which is sustainable. So here you are in Kolkata and you start looking at something which is in abundance around, and you discover
Yes.
that there are leather products which are abundantly around. All right.
Very
Now,
correct.
the other thing that you very beautifully added is that you are ready to work hard. So you say, okay, so this is a leather product which is being can be manufactured here. Add to that my ability, each of our ability to put in the work needed to take this which is abundant here to a market where this is needed, where there is a need for that. And I think what you have very beautifully created, Ajay ji, and that's what I call that each one of us is the critical bridge, that we may have
Yes.
certain talent, we may have certain things which are in abundance here, but for it to reach the world where it is needed, it needs our work, our
Right. Very
readiness to put in that extra bit. All right, so
absolutely.
please go on from here. So you had
Yeah.
leather, you had the possibility of thing, and you started
Yes.
going out and making meetings and
Absolutely. So this, when I took up this business, it was, I would say, not easy. It was quite difficult because first of all, I had no idea on the product side. So I had an idea on business side, which is fair enough, and international trade. Of course, I could learn quite a thing from my education as well as from my previous experiences. But then, so far the product side, I had a very little knowledge. So I used to spend a lot of time in the tanneries and the factory level. And then I used to travel a lot. Every second month, I used to be there. Those days, when we were startups, not like today's startup where everything is online and everything is so easy. And those days, we used to even make a telex message to the customers from, not because telex is a rare commodity for smaller offices. So we used to walk down to the general post
direction.
office and make a telex, and then it goes to the customer, and then after a couple of hours he gives a reply. And then I used to travel for almost a month to gather. So because it is travel was expensive, I can't do it again and again. So I must, in one travel, I must cover a lot of areas, meet a lot of customers, then come back, bring a lot of samples, make the counter samples, send it back to them, stuff like that. Which nowadays nobody need to do it, just because you have a courier service. You have to just make it and send it across any part of the world. In 2 days, it is reaching. So those were the challenges those days. But then I think the G was very strong, and the idea of doing things in a bigger and in a nicer way. There is no substitute for hard work, right? That you have to put. So these ingredients were collated, and then things went off very nicely, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, so here is something very interesting which I also discovered while we are curating this conversation, is that you are taking right now leather jackets and leather gloves which
Yeah.
are needed outside. So people are buying it. Fantastic, very good. And then while you are there, you listen to, hey,
Yeah.
these guys need something else also.
Yeah. Right.
All right, please tell us about that. I find that
Yeah.
very, very interesting.
So, this is how our journey has been, that once we started with leather gloves, and while talking to the customers, I understand that he also needs a lot of, let's say, jackets for the protection, for trousers or overalls, coveralls, the bibs, because this is what he has been buying from, let's say, East Europe or maybe from China, and he's looking for maybe alternate supplier, or he may not be looking for alternate supplier. But I think those kind of product, perhaps I can also do it in India. and I can get it made in India. So I started bringing those ideas, working hard with my people, trying to look into the possibilities, what best we can do. And that's how we added on various other products, like starting from leather gloves when we started first. We added on all kind of garments, which are industrial range of garment, and we do a big business on that. Then we started with nitrile dipped gloves, which is one of the very, very tricky product. Nobody in India did it those days. And we started doing it way back in 2000. So already 20 years we are
So,
doing this
so
business.
here is again, even as you move on, I'm noticing a very, very interesting point. I want to illustrate that. So imagine we are having a meeting. Okay, we are having a meeting with a client, and we are talking about this that they have asked for. You know what you have just illustrated, and which I find really fascinating. Um, is that if I have got a meeting, then I don't have a meeting just for that.
Yeah.
Each meeting is a possibility for
Yeah.
me to hear some more.
Yeah.
And what you have just illustrated is that imagine when we have an opportunity of going someplace, when we have an opportunity to have an interface, maybe maybe online or offline. If we have a meeting, if we have a phone call, can we get something more out of it
Very true.
rather than just doing what we are supposed to do?
Very,
How
very
important is that?
I think it is very important. But on top of that importance thing, one more important thing is also there. First of all, you have to build a confidence on your customer. If your confidence, the customer is having a confidence in you, he's going to give you more opportunity. And he will talk it out. He will open his heart and he will say, listen, Ajay, I have a problem. Can you also do something on this? Can you also help me in finding something from Asia? Because I'm not going to get it here in Europe, or I'm finding it very expensive. Can you get me another alternate supplier or alternate supply positions from India? So I think that confidence building is the key. The
And
once you
how
are
does
able
one
to
build that confidence? And
okay,
how does
so
that?
this you have to build by two ways, in my opinion. One, by your dedicated services to the client, and also listening out very correctly. So many times the customer is not really looking for you to really push him hard for businesses, because they are also thinking from different angle. Now, this is also something I would say one has to understand, that it's not, see, it's your interest could be to sell a product or get into a new range of product. That's your interest. Look at the interest of the customer. What exactly he's maybe looking at? He may be looking at alternate supply, but not necessarily always. He may be very happy with his present supplier, so he may not be interested in a new supplier. He may be very much pissed off with the pricing part. Okay, now this is something you have to analyze and you have to understand, that what exactly the customer is looking at. And I'm sure once you are able to decipher that, things will become easier. Then you know there will be many very large customers of yours who may not be interested in talking to you on one product, or let's say some of the products, because they are very happy, satisfied with other supply positions. So there's no need of jeopardizing that, and it's not fair also. I would say, as an entrepreneur or as a leader, you should think on the side of everybody. You cannot just think of your side. If you think
Beautiful.
from only your side, that is not going to be sustainable for long term. It has to be for win-win situation for everybody. Then only it is going to survive and it is going to grow.
This is something so insightful, and I really want to see that can we get that it if we are only looking at what's in it for me, what's in it for me, what's in it for me, that person is
Yeah.
not going to be. And I've always felt that if each one of us look, each one of us, Ajayji, I'm very clear, is looking for what's in it for me, all right, all of us. But something interesting happens if you can expand your me. So if my me now also includes you, where I'm very clear that as I can create more opportunities to add more value to others, I will finally be, I will
Absolutely.
gain. All right.
Yeah, you
So
are
what
on
you have
board. Yes.
very, yeah, and what you have very beautifully shared is And I'm learning a lot, Ajay ji. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I love doing these
Same
shows.
for me, eh? Same
You
for
know,
me. When
I
I talk
learned
to you,
such
I
a,
always learn a lot.
yeah. And you know what I'm really present to is the ability for you to have a commitment to service.
Yeah, that's very
Because
important.
and by service is not what I want to sell, but what is it that person needs.
Yeah.
All right. And so here is something which I want to ask you, that as you were in your interactions with them, and as you started sensing that they may need other things, what did you do after that?
So once you get to know what your customer is looking at, you need
Hmm.
to make your own homework. You need to study it very thoroughly on your hinterland, what exactly you are able to gather and offer back to the client, right? So many things, perhaps in India, those days, of course, was absolutely difficult, but now it's not so difficult. But then, you have to understand that many things where we have handicaps. We perhaps can't really do it so nicely here in India because of logistic, because of the basic raw material not being available, skills are not available, stuff like that. So I think we need to understand that we, if we really want to succeed in our endeavor, then we must select some kind of range of products where we can find something which we can really command and we can get it from the local source, or something which is, let's say, at our arm's length, right? Unless that is happening, it is very difficult to make all the logistics together. Now that is something which we need to understand. Although as a, I mean, I always say that when you are in an exim business, in import export business, you have to think global. You just can't think of India only, right? So many a business model which we have developed is, I mean, I'm selling in Europe, but maybe buying in China or in Bangladesh or in Sri Lanka, which I'm making it there and finally serving to my client. So though that ecosystem also you have to build up, and that is possible provided you have that kind of idea and vision about it, and it is also possible. So depending on what exactly is the game you want to play, and then accordingly you have to select the right kind of equipment for that. That's what I would say.
So one thing which is very interesting in this, that at the heart of Malcolm, the way you have grown. Now, I really want to grow that, even as you went into and as you were started hearing that probably industrial clothing, industrial protective clothing and
Yeah.
gears are needed. What did Malcolm had need to change in itself to gear itself to provide something, as you said, a commanding presence in this new
Yeah.
field?
Yeah. You are talking about the medical PP, right? Are you talking
No,
about
I'm
medical
talking
PP?
about your,
In general. All
the
right. Okay.
gloves, the thing, and all
All
those
right.
things
Okay.
which
Okay.
is at the core of
So
your business.
right. So once we started adding on product, then we decided that I think the subject matter where we are getting ourselves into is the PP. In a generic term, it is a PP. And then we started exploring what other products we can add on so that we can make a complete basket of product, a whole gourmet of product which we can bring it to our customer. And we can say that, listen, when you're buying this, why don't you also look into it? Then a lot of those smaller customers will be much more persuaded to come to us because they get a deal at one-stop solution kind of thing. They would like to buy a helmet, they would like to buy a pair of shoes, gloves, garments, face mask, everything at one stop, which will be much more easier. And that's how we integrated ourselves into several other personal protective equipment products, which we in the due course of time we launched, and we are quite successful in that.
And how important is a learning curve in this? So
Oh,
you are now first moving from something that you procure somewhere and sell, but now you're actually into manufacturing, and that's what I find very interesting about Malcolm. When I, even when we did an event together,
mhm.
is that at one end is your business acumen, and at the other end is the technical expertise.
Yeah. So
how
you
how
have
are
to.
they how are they matched up, and how
I
important
think
are they for them to keep in touch?
I think I'm still a hardcore businessman who would like to delegate everything. So
Hmm.
I have a team who is taking care of all aspects of it. So there is a technical team, each of the unit is headed by the SBU head who is handling the whole operation there. But then technically, each of the product has got a technical guy who would know in and out about the product. All the compliances, norms, because mind you, when we are making product for Europe or America, these are all must conform to the local standard there. So for example, in Europe, it must be all CE standard. So there are various norms for every product. Any damn product you sell on the safety, it has to be certified by a independent laboratory there in Europe only. Similarly, for America, it should be a certified product for the American laboratory, and then only you can sell. So we must get all our products certified, and then only we can launch it there. So for understanding those products as well as the technology of those making, as well as final performance and efficacy of those products, my team must be quite aware as well as must be having adequate knowledge so that they produce those kind of product exactly as per the norms. Otherwise, this can have serious legal as well as financial complications, because if my product fails, I will be legally liable to pay up the damage, which can be huge. So it is a very important subject for us.
But you know what? One of the things that's coming up in this conversation, and I would just want to make a note of it, and for all of us, Ajay ji is relating to himself as an entrepreneur whose specialty is his ability to do business. At the other end are a whole lot of stuff that he does not directly know of. He knows of, but he's not an expert. All right.
Yeah.
So a lot of us, many a times, we want to do many things, but we are stopped saying that I want to do it, but I can't do it. And over the years, I have discovered that first I have to get how to do it.
Yeah.
And if I do not know how to do it, and if I'm passionate about it, I have to find out people who know how to do it.
Yes.
And so how important is getting a professional team in place for all the things that you do not know how to do, but are committed to do in part of the larger vision that you saw for yourself at Mallcom?
No, I think this is imperative. Unless you have the right people with right skill on the job, it is impossible to get the work done in a right manner. Mm-hmm. So if you know your strength, you must know all your weaknesses also, right? And when you know your weaknesses, you must try to combat it by adequate decisions towards that, right? Now, sure. This is very, very important. Unless you do that, the whole offering is not complete, right? So sure. This is very, very imperative, I would say.
And one of the things that I've also noticed, and that even as you're hiring people for their technical expertise, you keep an eye on what is the mindset, who are the people, what are the values that they hold. All right, something very, very central to it, and that this is where is that at one end are the so to say the hard skills, which we say the skills that are needed for a particular job. Yeah. But so then on the other side, what I've always been inspired are the human skills, which have to do with our values, which have to do with integrity or whatever. How important is that for Mallcom?
So there are three basic points I would always like to look into any hiring which I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And last 2 years, we have also started a campaign within our organization because we employ more than 3,000 people all across our units. But then major hiring or any hiring, of course, on the workers level, perhaps we can't go into deep of it, but we start doing this campaign and churning the thought process in them that three things we don't compromise. So we call it COIN: commitment, integrity, and ownership. Now, this is something we don't want to compromise. We always would like to see if the guy is committed, he's honest, that's integrity. And then, yes, going forward, you see the whole thing, the knowledge or skill can be more or less. It's not very important. More important, if basic value systems are in place, those things can be built up over the period. We make a lot of training of our team members where we know that they are lagging somewhere in some of their skills. We try to upgrade that over the period. but then the basic ingredients are available with that person, then it is going to work out in due course of time. It's not a problem. But if there is a problem in the basics of those three ingredients which we are always looking at, then there is going to be a problem.
And Ajay, something which again is interesting in this point, and which I would love to illustrate here, is that when each one of us is stepping into a future, and I will come to that even as a question for you. So a whole lot of us are dealing with uncertainty. We don't know what the future will look like. We don't even know what the future businesses, how the future of what the ask could be is looking up. When you make this point, I really get that. As far as skill sets are concerned, we have the capacity to learn and to
Yeah.
get trained. Okay. But what is really important for each one of us is to continually invest in
Yes.
our own integrity, continuously invest in a no shortcut world,
Yeah.
continuously invest in being wanting to be exemplary in our work.
Yeah.
Because if and that's something which is very, very dear to me, because I'm very clear. See, Ajay, I have traveled across different professions, in different professions, and none of them I've left. So they all continue to be. As an actor, it continues. As a speaker, it continues. As working across, working at narratives with, business heads like you continues. But what I've discovered is that each one of these new things that I walk into, there is a steep learning curve. And if I wish to, then I can learn. But one thing
Sure.
which I carry right from my shooting spot to a conversation is that what can I do which is exemplary? What can I do which is so extraordinary that it adds value? And what you have just illustrated is that if people at large are looking at consistently working on their own selves,
Yes.
whatever the new world will
Yeah.
ask for, you may learn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
And
true. Very, very true.
how important is that for the entrepreneur, that you have been looking at it? So also just take us through that, as you added the products, how one product led to another, and how the ask kept on adding, and what is the kind of things that you're offering now to the world?
So, I mean, once you have built up that kind of confidence through your, I mean, customers, your business automatically will start growing, because the customers themselves will give you the clue what exactly you should be doing. And you need to decipher the product range, of course, and your capabilities, what you are able to do, and then finally go back to the clients and not only that client, but the whole lot of clients wherever you have, and that will make the whole business to propel quite well. The only thing you have to understand is that, see, the business, nothing is going to be permanent, right? So it has to be always evolving. So when we started doing, let's say, garmenting, now the garmenting has been not only a simple coveralls or the boiler suit which a worker is using. It has been evolving into various other subjects. They need now clean room garments. Now this is a garment which you need for the electronic or the software industries, which are has to be
Static.
anti-static and stuff like that. Now those are new things, right? But you have to get involved into that. Similarly, the fire retardant fabric or all kind of technical textile, which is a very, very important element now in the whole business gourmet. And this is also, you have to start learning and immediately get yourself bounced back into that. Then only you can grow your business. Sticking back to only one product range or only one idea of doing business with that customer or one particular customer for year long, it's not going to really work. So you have to
Super.
keep your eyes and ideas open and keep doing this kind of exercises.
uh, Ajit, tell me one thing. This is a question which many entrepreneurs may have, and I personally also have. How important is it to make sure that we meet the monthly target? And it's very clearly important to meet the weekly and the monthly target, and still have a period of time to invest into what could the new range be? So how important, and what is your ability? So what would you suggest for people to do something which is regularly required, so that we are honoring what is there and still have time to look into the future? What is the kind of time management that you would do as an entrepreneur and for your teams?
See, it is a very tough choice when anybody thinks to take up entrepreneurship as the career. It's a
Mhm.
very, very tough choice. It is a commitment that you are not only going to look after yourself and your well-being, but also for the whole lot of people who are going to get associated with you. Now, this is a paramount thing. If you keep this in mind, I think time becomes a no factor. You have to devote a lot of time, of course, for the business, and then to learn. And mind you, I mean, I know I'm still not justified when I say so because I'm not able to do it 100% exactly what I'm saying, but I try. I keep attempting. I need to read at least one book in a month. I don't do it. I need to. I mean, although I always advocate for it to all my team members that they must do it, but I know how difficult it is because there are a lot of other factors which also we have to take care on a daily basis, apart from, as you said, monthly targets or quarterly targets, and then a lot of these I mean organization and association where you have to devote some time on the discussion or the some kind of meetings and stuff like that. The point is that so far as your business is concerned, your commitment about time is one factor, but to keep it in a propelling mode and in a growth mode, you have to really do a lot of other and extra work, which now it all depends on how do you really want to do it. I mean, now at my stage when I'm 60 plus, I would like to make it little slow for myself, but then I'm still propelling my people to do it faster than me because I know that they will be taking it forward. I, of course, would like to do it, but I know that is I'm short of time now, and I will not be more than 4 or 5 years extra in this business. Then I have to be a little bit lying low. But then the people who are having enough time, I mean, they're young and they are still very encouraging about it. They must be pushed, and I think they will be able to do it also. So
So,
the time
so
is something which
here is a
we have
question
to
for you.
focus on.
Here is a
Sorry.
very straight question for people who are listening in. For any one of us, what would you suggest how to go about a day at work or a week at work in which we are honoring whatever we need to deliver, and we are also developing what may be needed by the future? What would you suggest to them?
I think they need to be quite open to this idea that they have to grow. Now, see, we are all talking about growth, but are we putting enough effort towards growth? And now that can be a questionable point, right? So I would say that those who are able to really commit themselves for their growth, they have to really devote some time for the future, which is the growth, right? And which is it could be new product, new ideas, new technology, new client acquisition, or whatever it could be, right, in area or domain where they are operating. Now that is how they should really look at it. And I think 10-15% of their time on a daily basis they must engage themselves in that area. Otherwise it's very difficult, in one whole day I'm doing this, it doesn't really happen. You have to take care of a lot of daily routine and mundane work which is there for everybody. And similarly for the future, you have to really define something which you must concentrate on.
So, one of the things that I've also discovered, which I found very inspiring about your product range, is that even when in India we did not have standards, that what kind of
Yeah,
standards our protection
yeah,
things were needed, you offered the European standards to Indian workers also. We
yeah.
are very clear to all that the price of life and the value of life is same for
Yes,
all.
yes. No,
What I mean, I mean, just please share with us that what you brought out, that what you're offering to your European markets, you started offering it to your Indian sellers also.
yeah. So it was for us a very clear concept that we cannot take any kind of compromise on the safety gears. Now, once we have that mind frame that life could be anybody's, it could be a guy in India or in Germany. To me, it is life. And
Yeah.
I would say it was difficult task those days when we decided that we will make the European standards offered in India because they were expensive. Now, in Indian market was in a very, very nascent stage. Still, a lot of non-conformative products are available in the markets till today.
Correct.
Also, maybe 60-70% of the product offering in the market are not conforming to the standards. But the point is, now you are taking risk with the life of the people. I mean, you may be making a business or a money, which is something different, but then finally, in heart of your heart, you know what kind of product you are selling, and if the safety is really, I mean, upper safety is no safety at all. I mean, it is going to fail, and the guy can have some problem with his life. So that was a decision which we took, and we thought nothing doing. We may sell a little low, no problem, and we are a little expensive. Yes, I understand, but let's not compromise on the quality which we are offering in Indian market or any market, whatever we are going to, right? And that's how we started. And by grace of God, things are looking up now. A lot of people have understood that, yes, this is a better product. This is a product which has got a lot of safety norms in place, and they are standardized products. So I think people do understand, and they do really care about it also. And it will take a little while, but they will definitely find finally this is a better product and much more effective product than what else is available in the market.
So a quick one. Now, if you want to describe what Mallcom is offering to the world, not and world when I really mean world, not just to the outside world, but even to India, how would you try and define that? What defines Mallcom? What would you like to share about that?
Well, we define that we are committed to our product. All the offering, whatever we are doing from our company, it is going to be completely as per the standard which we are committing on the face of the product, and that has to be there.
Yeah, and the industrial products that you are creating, and be it the shoes, the gloves, and I'd seen a range of your products. Each one, I mean, somewhere, what I sense in what you say, that there is a mix of creating value at the same time being responsible for lives, putting
Yes.
putting your name. You're putting
Yes.
that at stake, that if my name is there,
Yes.
I am saying that I stand for your protection. That's my stake
Correct.
in this journey. How
Yes. Yes.
important
Yes.
is that stake?
Very much. Very, very much. I mean, I swear by that once we are committing something, it's not only product, it's any kind of commitment, even a commitment to my people, my employee, my customer, my banker, anybody, that we have to honor. We just can't say that sorry, we couldn't do it because of so and so. No, it's not done. Now that is very important. I mean, for me, that value system is there imbibed in my blood. I don't think I can go back on that.
So I think this has been a really rich conversation. I kind of a few very, very interesting takeaways. Of course, I have kept highlighting throughout. But one thing which I again take back is that what is it that I'm playing for? All right, really letting myself, my team, my clients, everyone in the world know, look, this is my game. All right, my game is that this is my commitment. And so say, like we are at Avid Miner, we are a 6-strong team, Ajayji. But I learn a lot each time that I interact with greats like you, because I'm very clear. I really reconnect to my commitment, and when I have the ability to share my commitment with my team, and I'm very, very lucky, just like you were saying, extraordinary set of people that I get to walk this path with. That when we can share our commitment to what we wish to create, that is when
Yes.
extraordinary energy, people put in their energy so that fantastic thing is created. And I personally think that in a world where people are trying to take shortcuts, it's a great idea for people to say that, hey, listen, you know what? My name is there on this. So therefore, I value it. I value it that this thing has gone through me. So, this is as important as that present that I would like to give to my child, that's something amazing that I would wish for my family. And for me also, one of the things that connects me to is that imagine if we don't look at products as numbers, but as human beings that we're impacting.
Yeah.
It takes it to another level. Would you like to share anything?
No, you have said it right. On dot, that when you are committing something based on life of somebody, the commitment value and commitment level goes beyond. I mean, it is not something okay, I'm selling a product which you will use it only for one time and then throw it. It's not like that. It
Mm.
is going to take care of, if you are using gloves, it is going to take care of your hands while you're working. It can hurt.
Yeah.
You can hurt yourself if you are not using the right kind of gloves, or even for the shoes or any kind of
Mm.
safety gears. So this
Yeah.
is a more intense kind of a commitment which we would like to, live by. And we say, listen, if we are offering something, if it is not confirming, we have a very strong quality system in place. Any kind of non-conformity, we must take it off. We must put our label off. We can't really put it back in the market. We just can't do
Super.
that.
So,
Yeah.
Ajay, we have a few people who are asking questions, and you can keep putting in a lot of questions. The comedians are. I see a question. So, what are the challenges for the business analyst? All right, this is a question for you. And what is one of the biggest challenges that the analysts face? And what is the next level of business analyst? And what are the three most important skills in your understanding for a business analyst?
I mean, to my knowledge, a business analyst has to get into few of the basic things. First of all, who is the man behind the whole company, right? That they have to understand. Look into the aspect of his value system, what exactly he's committing, what exactly he's delivering. And then, of course, the business model. Of course, they have to see whether the business model is sustainable or not. That is very important, because many of the time over the period, the business model itself gets into jeopardized situation because the government law change, or there is some kind of benefit which they were getting that is not available anymore and stuff like that. So the product marketability is the very, very important that they have to understand. So these are the two. And the third one, I would say, the the overall market or economy situation respect to that particular product range which they are offering. So I think these are the three important thing I would see. And of course, the team is also very important, who all are there in the team, which of course would be the part of, I would say, first, when you say the entrepreneur or the team, you can also keep that point in a conjunctivity with the team, or the leader is the same. I mean, the leader defines the team and the team defines the leader. I mean, you have the right people on your team, that means you are a right leader also. But finally, the team is delivering, right? It's not the leader. Leader is only giving the guidance or the direction. That's all.
So, in fact, as part of this question, and as we kind of wrap up, ready to wrap up this particular show, Ajay ji, even in this answer for the comedians, you have illustrated something amazing. You kind of you have brought out that what are the three very strong possibilities that any person who wants to be an entrepreneur can put in there. First, look at what is it that's personally driving you. What is your commitment? What is the culture that you wish to
Yeah.
spread, and what do you stand for? Okay, that's the first thing. Second, look at what is it that the world wants. Is there a sustainability, that how you can turn your values into something that the world wants consistently? All right.
Very true.
And to just take it a bit further, Ajay, what I've understood is that the world will never want one thing consistently. The
Yeah.
world will definitely want things consistently. So
Yeah.
if you got your, if you got your mindset in place and you're ready to continuously offer, rebrand, reposition, recreate new
Yes.
things on a consistent
Yes.
basis,
Yes.
that's the second part. And the third part, very powerfully, that you said, is to invest and get lucky to get some amazing team members,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, to add value. And
Correct.
I think these three things are very, very powerful things, which I take back from your interaction with you, Ajay. And for the rest
Thank
of
you.
us, this in fact is the first living forward of 2021. And I'm so very happy that I could do it with you, Ajay. Very
Thank you so
clearly,
much.
very, very clearly, each one of us, we are responsible for the future that we wish for
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah.
And
Very correct.
as as I came to know through this conversation even more, that if you really want something very badly for yourself, I really want it, then make it big. Make that dream so big that you cannot do it alone.
Yeah.
Make that dream so big that you think that, "Oh, yeah, I can do it." No, no, it's got to be somewhere beyond. And that's when you will reach out. You will look into the world. You will say that, look, only I consuming my dream won't work. So I will now
Yes.
create something which the world wants.
World. Right.
And this is something really inspiring for me, because then it says ki I am to be ongoingly alive and alert to
Yes.
what the world wants, and to have a team which is coming together to say that we are moving,
Yeah.
we are alive, we are throbbing,
Life.
we are going to do various things that are going to be needed. So that's the energy of the entrepreneur.
Right. Very
So
rightly
thank
said.
you.
Very rightly said. Thank you very, very much. You know.
And I look forward to greater growth for Mallcom, as you are this truly Indian company which is offering these PP stuff all over the world, and for Indians. And you have done a stellar work during these challenging times to tweak your existing resources and creating so many of suits and all these things for people who are at the front line. So I take
Yes.
this opportunity to thank you on behalf of the millions that you have served, Ajayji, with your work. Each member of your team has served millions. You have saved lives, you have saved people from getting injured. And as I always said, that people remember people like you only when they make mistakes, right? They will never stop, probably pause to say thank you to you for the stuff that you're doing, but they don't even realize how good it is, because the product works so well. So I'm here to thank you for that.
Well,
I'm
thank
here
you
to
very,
thank
very
each
much
one of
for you to invite me on your show and hearing me out. It was indeed very, very nice, and I mean, share my views with you. And I hope that it could be helpful to the people who are listening to me. Thank you very, very much.
You have added amazing value to me. I know you have added amazing value to the people listening in. And thank you, each one of you who have gathered from all over the world. I see some people, different parts of the world. Yes, and yes, and Anurag says Elon Musk speaks of believe, begin, and become. Wow, I love that, Anurag. Yes, if we first have to believe in something, all right, really, and then the next step after believing is beginning. And I know it is difficult to begin because we think that, "Arey, will it work or not?"
Yeah.
And then become, so that your work and you are one. Awesome, Anurag. Thank you so much for sharing. And these are the kind of ways, when people listen to such thoughts, we get ignited. And this period, this time of our life, we need to be ignited to create something extraordinary for ourselves, dear friend. And living forward, we will continue to bring conversations in which we are creating a solutioning mindset, because people are creating solutions. Please keep visiting us on our website, avidminer.com. We are committed to add continuous and extraordinary value to organizations. And please visit our YouTube channel, Ashish Vidyarthi Official. Follow it. I make some simple videos on life and how things are possible. Thank you, each one of you, for your support, your love. Ajay ji, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया दोबारा
Thank you. Thank
आपका
you.
भी.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone, you have an extraordinary Sunday. Fill it up with energy, dear friends. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका. I'm at a very cool place. I'm at Dharampur. Right?
Okay.
So cheers. Thank you. Thank you. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आप सबका. Divya, we want to run something right in the end before I turn it off. So bye-bye, everybody, and have a look at this. बहुत बहुत